for the fans. The glory for the pinstripes.
You know what's cruel? The silence. That moment when you put on the jersey, you look in the mirror, you see the pinstripes, the weight of the history. You feel like you've finally come home, like the fan base embraced you, like you brought an energy that was missing in that freezing stadium in October. And then the phone doesn't ring, or worse, you open the paper, you open Twitter, and you see your name isn't on the untouchable list. Far from it. You are the chip. You are the cost of doing business. That's what we need to talk about today. It's not about stats. It's not about WAR. It's about identity. What is happening in the New York Yankees front office right now, this exact minute, is an identity crisis disguised as a negotiation. We are looking at Jazz Chisholm Jr., a guy who arrived, changed the vibe, brought the swag, brought life, and now his days might be numbered. And why? Because the front office is panicking. Let's be real here. No sugarcoating. There is a name haunting the hallways of Yankee Stadium, Cody Bellinger. The Bellinger soap opera just won't end. Back and forth, offer here, counter offer there, and the clock is ticking. The sand in the hourglass is falling. And when the Yankees feel like they're losing control of the narrative, they make drastic moves. They shift the target, and the target has now turned into Bo Bichette. Seriously, think about the gravity of this. The report coming out from behind the scenes, and anyone who follows knows. John Heyman from the New York Post doesn't just talk for his health. If he wrote it, it's because there's smoke. A lot of smoke. The conversation has changed. Oh, we can't close with Bellinger. Price is too high. Boras is being difficult. Fine. Let's look sideways. Let's look at Toronto. And that's where Bo Bichette enters the equation. And this is where the fans' stomach starts to turn. This is where we need to stop and take a breath, because bringing in Bichette isn't just adding a bat. It's a domino. You knock over the first piece and the rest of the room crumbles. If Bichette walks in, someone walks out. The roster math doesn't add up. The field doesn't stretch. Only 9 guys fit out there. And who is the weak link? Not technically, but contractually. Jazz Chisholm, Thomas Harrigan over at MLB.com touched the nerve yesterday. He was surgical. He spelled it out. If the Yankees bring in Bichette, Jazz's days in New York could be over. Done. Imagine that. The guy is entering his final contract year. He wants to prove his worth. He wants to stay. And the team brings in a guy worth nearly $200 million to play his position or to push him out. That messes with anyone's head. That destroys a clubhouse if it isn't managed right. And what's the excuse? What's the technical justification for this madness? Anthony Volpe, the kid had shoulder surgery. It's serious. Left shoulder surgery. Nobody knows how he comes back. Nobody knows when he comes back 100%. Is he missing opening day? Probably. So the office looks at it and says, we need a shortstop. Okay, fair, but Bichette isn't a stopgap. You don't bring in Bo Bichette to play for a month and then sit on the bench. You bring Bichette in to be a starter, to be a star, and then Volpe comes back. And then what? You have Volpe, you have Bichette, you have Torres or whoever. Where does Jazz fit? He doesn't. Jazz becomes the trade bait, that valuable asset you burn to fix another hole. And this is where I keep thinking, is it worth it? Is it worth sacrificing the chemistry? Is it worth sacrificing a guy the fan base learned to love in just a few months just to bring in a heavier name? Before I go on, I need you to be honest with me. Stop everything you're doing. Look at this scenario. Would you trade Jazz Chisholm's energy for the consistency maybe of Bo Bichette, knowing the financial and emotional cost? Hit that like button if you think the Yankees are losing the plot. Subscribe to the channel, because we are here every day trying to decode this mess. We do this together. This isn't cable TV. This is our conversation, our bleachers. So join in, getting back to it. There is a financial point here that is scary, the money. Always the money, right? Jazz Chisholm is going to cost what? Around $10 million this year? $10 million. In today's baseball, that's chump change for a talent like him. It's an arbitration deal. It's safe. It's cheap. Now, look at Bichette. The market is talking $186 million, 8 years, $186 million. Are you willing to make that commitment? Skip paying Bellinger, who was plan A, to dump a truckload of cash on Bichette, and on top of that, kick Jazz out? It's a risky maneuver, very risky. And there's the ghost of the Boston Red Sox haunting this story. Remember what happened there? When they brought in new guys and left Rafael Devers unhappy? The mood soured. It became a distraction. The Yankees cannot afford a distraction. Not after last year. Not with this title window wide open. If you bring in Bichette and keep Jazz, you create internal competition that might be healthy or it might be toxic. Who's playing today? Why am I on the bench? I'm an all-star. Respect me. Ego, my friends. Ego is the hardest injury to heal in sports. There's no surgery for a bruised ego. And if the plan really is to trade Jazz, where does he go and what do we get in return? Because selling Jazz now, at a low point or in a rush, is asking to get robbed. Everyone in the league will know the Yankees need to get rid of him because they signed Bichette. When you are desperate to sell, the price drops. That's basic market law. Brian Cashman knows this. He's not stupid. But sometimes pressure makes us make stupid mistakes. The pressure of seeing Bellinger slipping through their fingers. The pressure of seeing Soto. Well, the Soto situation is another story, but everything is connected. The pressure to win now. That anxiety can lead to a fatal error. Jazz Chisholm isn't perfect. Far from it. He has his slumps. He has his health issues too. But he has something this team lacks a lot of the time. Fire. He plays angry. He plays with joy. It's a contradiction, but it's real. He runs the bases like it's the last run of his life. Is Bo Bichette a hell of a player? Yes, pure hitter, elite contact. But does he change the clubhouse? Does he ignite the crowd on a rainy Tuesday against the Royals? I don't know. And I'm afraid the front office doesn't know either, but they're willing to pay $186 million to find out. And Jazz, he sits there reading the news. Oh, he's a potential trade target. Imagine going to work tomorrow, knowing your boss is interviewing someone for your spot and is already calling competitors to see if anyone wants you. Where is your head at? How does your performance look? We talk about athletes like they're robots. Oh, he's a professional. He has to deal with it. Lie. We are human. Insecurity hits. Fear hits. And if the Yankees make this trade, they are sending a very clear message to the rest of the roster. No one is safe. Doesn't matter what you do. If a shiny, new, more expensive toy comes along, you're out. Does that build loyalty? Does that build a championship team? I look at the roster today. Volpe hurt. Rizzo getting older. Judge carrying the load. Cole on the mound. We need certainty, not more doubts. Does bringing in Bichette solve the shortstop problem temporarily? Yes, but it creates 3 other problems to solve later. Financial problem, roster rotation problem, and the Jazz problem. And what if Volpe comes back flying? What if Volpe comes back better than before? Are you going to put the hometown kid on the bench? The new Jeter? Are you going to have the guts to sit the golden boy just to justify Bichette's salary? Or do you move Bichette to second base? And then Jazz, who is the second baseman, goes where? Third, and the other guy? It turns into a game of musical chairs where the music never stops and someone is always left standing looking awkward. I like Bichette. Don't get me wrong, the kid can play. In Toronto, he was a monster, but the fit, it feels forced. It feels like that puzzle piece you force in with your fist to make it enter, and it fits, but the edges get bent. The image gets distorted. The Yankees need hitters need offense, that's undeniable, but at what cost? The cost of losing the identity that Jazz helped build? Maybe I'm being too romantic. Maybe baseball is just business after all, spreadsheets, numbers, projections. But anyone who lives in the bleachers knows it's not just that. You know there are things that don't show up in Excel. The chemistry between the second baseman and the shortstop, the look of trust, the joke in the dugout that relaxes the team in the ninth inning. Jazz had that with Volpe. They seemed to get each other. Now, with Volpe on the shelf and Jazz on the trading block, what's left? Are we left with a team of mercenaries, a team of lonely stars? We've seen this movie in New York. We saw it in the 2000s. We saw it recently. Sign, 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 and don't win because the soul is missing. Is trading Jazz for Bichette selling a little bit of the soul in exchange for a little more batting average? It's a question that keeps hammering in my head, and the worst part is we don't have an answer right now. All we have are rumors, whispers, and the deafening silence from Brian Cashman. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking. Spring training is coming. Pitchers and catchers are reporting soon, very soon, and who is going to be there, who is going to be wearing number 2, who is going to be at second base. Uncertainty is the worst poison for preparation. If you're going to do it, do it. Rip the Band-Aid off. Write the $186 million check, but trade Jazz, own the risk, but staying in this limbo. Oh, maybe Bellinger, maybe Bichette, maybe Jazz leaves. That is torture. That is amateur hour disguised as strategy. The fan deserves clarity. Jazz deserves respect. And Volpe deserves to know who his partner is going to be when that shoulder heals. But knowing the Yankees, we are going to suffer until the very last second. And you, what is your verdict? You are the GM for a day. You have the pen in your hand and the check on the table. Option A, forget Bichette, trust Volpe's recovery, keep Jazz, and spend the money on something else. Pitching, maybe. Option B, bring in Bichette, build a super infield, and to hell with the money and the ego of whoever gets left out. Option C, trade Jazz now while he has value and bet everything on the new lineup. It's tough, right? Wouldn't want to be in Cashman's shoes, but I wish he had more heart. Comment down below. I want to see the debate catch fire. I want to see arguments. Defend your point, because your voice counts here. This is the Yankees, my friends. It's never easy. It's never quiet. And that's why we can't stop watching. I'll see you next time. Hoping for news, good or bad, but news, I'm out.